A princess lived in a luxurious castle. She was only 14 years old, but she was terribly spoiled and moody. Once she came up with something for April to come, and there were spring flowers at the New Year's banquet. She issued a decree in which she announced the beginning of spring and promised to generously reward the one who brings snowdrops to the palace. In a small house on the outskirts of the city lived a stepmother with her daughter and stepdaughter. The stepdaughter was a very sweet and kind girl, and her name was Masha. The stepmother and daughter were very lazy and angry, and they hurt the poor girl in every possible way. They really wanted to receive the reward promised by the princess, but they could not think of where to get the snowdrops in winter. The old woman decided to send Masha to the forest to bring them spring flowers. The stepdaughter began to beg her stepmother to take pity on her, because it was dark and cold outside. And what kind of snowdrops can there be in winter? But the greedy old woman did not want to hear anything. She gave a larger basket and drove Masha out the door. The frozen girl was very scared in a dark forest. Suddenly, in the distance, she saw a light. She was delighted and went to meet him. It turned out that it was a large blazing fire, and 12 people were warming themselves around it. Plucking up her courage, the girl approached them and told them that the evil stepmother made her go into the forest and collect snowdrops. It turned out that it was 12 months. The brothers felt sorry for Masha, and they decided to help her. Brother April chanted a spell, and suddenly spring came in the forest and in the clearing. The snow melted, green grass appeared, snowdrops blossomed. The girl began to collect flowers and soon filled a large basket with them. Young April liked her very much, and he gave her a magic ring. If trouble happens, he must be thrown to the ground, a spell cast, and all 12 months will come to the rescue. Masha thanked them and went home. When the girl brought the snowdrops home, the stepmother and daughter were very surprised at this. Masha was very tired from the journey and immediately fell asleep soundly. Her half-sister suspected something was wrong. While the girl was sleeping, she found her magic ring and took it to herself. After waking up, the stepdaughter discovered the loss. She began to beg to return the ring, but her stepmother and daughter did not want to hear anything. Taking a basket of snowdrops, they hurried to the royal palace. In the palace there was a magnificently decorated New Year tree. But the upcoming celebration did not please the capricious princess at all. And only when the stepmother and daughter brought her a whole basket of snowdrops, the princess changed her anger to mercy. The stepmother could not clearly answer where the flowers came from, and she had to admit that her stepdaughter had collected them. The princess immediately decided to go to the meadow with snowdrops. On the way, she looked to poor Masha, so that she would show her the place where she picked flowers. The girl said she would show it, but only if the ring was returned to her. From such insolence, the princess was angry and threw away the ring. But the stepdaughter managed to cast a spell. Immediately a strong wind rose, thunder rumbled, foliage fell, and snow began to fall. Old Man January appeared before them. He invited everyone to make one wish. Out of fear, the princess wished to be in the palace as soon as possible. Masha made a wish that everything would return to its place in due time, winter in winter, summer in summer. The stepmother and her daughter were so frozen that they wanted fur coats from any fur, even from a dog. Saying this, the greedy women immediately turned into dogs. They were harnessed to a sleigh on which the princess was to get to the palace. Masha thanked the brothers for their help. They promised to turn the stepmother and her daughter back into humans, but only when they become obedient. Months gave the girl a wonderful big sled, harnessed by frisky horses. Seeing them, the princess asked for a ride to the palace. It was the first time in her life that the princess had uttered the word please. And Masha gladly agreed. Once upon a time, a cunning and narcissistic fox lived in a dense forest. She deceived everyone, so none of the animals trusted her and did not want to be friends with her. Soon the fox got tired of being alone, and she invited her neighbor Crane to dinner. At first, the crane refused, remembering that the fox cannot be trusted. But the fox convinced him, saying that except for him, none of the animals wants to be friends with her. And most importantly, the fox invited him to become best friends. Crane was glad of this invitation, and after a while went to visit. The fox's soup was very aromatic. After setting the table, she sprinkled the food into large plates. The fox invited the crane to the table, and began to eat her soup with pleasure. But the crane couldn't taste it out of such a flat dish. He unsuccessfully banged his beak on the plate, and in the end remained hungry. The crane was upset, thinking that the fox was very inattentive to him. But he was a guest at her house, so he did not say anything about his resentment. Meanwhile, the fox finished the soup to the last drop. Seeing that the crane was about to leave, she asked in disbelief if he liked the dinner.
No.
The crane politely said goodbye, and went home hungry and upset. After a while, the crane decided to teach the fox a good lesson. He went to his girlfriend, and politely invited her to dinner. Lisa was very happy with the offer and agreed. Having prepared dinner, the crane took out 2 tall and narrow jugs for himself and the fox. He set the table, and put the food in the jugs. By this time the fox had come. She was very hungry. The crane invited the guest to the table, and the friends proceeded to dinner. The fox tried to eat from a narrow jug, but nothing came of it, because the vessel was too narrow. Meanwhile, the crane ate with ease with its long beak. When he finished, he saw the fox trying unsuccessfully to eat. Crane asked if she liked the dinner. But the fox replied that she could not eat anything due to the fact that the jug was too narrow and long. The crane was expecting a similar answer. He reminded the fox that he had left her house hungry because the plate was too flat. And then she realized her mistake. She felt ashamed that she was so inattentive to her neighbor. Lisa apologized and said that she could not even think that he would not be able to eat from such a plate. Crane forgave her and said that henceforth they need to remember their differences. Having said this, he brought a large plate from which the guest could easily eat her dinner. When it was time to say goodbye, the fox got an idea. She asked the crane to take one of his jugs to his home, so that he could easily dine with the fox. The neighbor liked this idea. He praised the fox, saying that if she uses her cunning and ingenuity for good deeds, she will have many friends. The fox and the crane laughed merrily. They have been best friends ever since. After some time, the crane came to say goodbye to its neighbor before heading to warmer lands. Left alone, the fox got bored. But she never forgot the words of the crane. Since then, the fox stopped thinking only about herself, and found real friends among other animals in the forest.